about 70-80 miles south and west of Grand Prairie, Alberta. Right now, George says there's about 15-20 men in camp. That's the cook shanty right over there. We had a delicious meal there yesterday. And like I said, there's about 15-20 men live here all week. Some of them work the night shift. This is basically, there's 2 men in each one of these little rooms, and it's quite comfortable. Electricity, showers, TV, and so on. This is a view of a clear-cut area, and you can see some of the wood decked over here, ready for loading. And I'm going to try to focus in on a beautiful hillside, and you can see the color in the trees in the distance. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous area to look at. Remember, that's quite a steep slope. It may run out of traction power, but it certainly has the power to do it. I've already broke the chain a couple times. Let's hope they don't break it again. Introduce our new T430 into the Canadian market. This is Kenny, my son, driving it up the road. We're on George Day's job out of Grand Prairie, Alberta. And when he gets up here, what we're going to do is perhaps take the back covers off, show the swing motors, show the engine, show the serviceability and its tilt capabilities. When the engine is running, there's no way that anyone can hear my voice, so I'll explain what's happening and then have the machine go through its paces. Right now, he's running it in high gear. On this particular machine, we have a 2-speed drive motor. In top speed, it'll go about 3.8 miles an hour. And in low speed, or low range, the speed is about 1.6. And actually, when you're in the bush, this is the one you'd usually use. This again is the machine traveling at about top speed, 3.8 miles per hour. Here's some pickups behind them, and behind them is a van with a group of people from Penny Tractors. What we're going to do is show the counter-rotate capability and the amount of power in the tracks. And the second thing Kenny's going to do is put the tilt capabilities in the machine to its extremes. So I'm going to have him turn it on because you're not going to be able to hear my voice while he's going through the motions. You show what the drive motors on the Cat 235 tracks look like. I've had Kenny shut the machine down, and Chuck McClellan, the Timbco rep for Canada, is going to open up the machine. These are the Cat motors that are driving the machine. They go from a high of 22 cube down to about 11 cubic inches, and that gives us a speed of about 3.8 on the top end and 1.6 on the low end. We're driving this machine at about 5,000 psi pressure, which gives us approximately 80 foot-pound torque pull. Show here is the access to the drive pumps in the engine. Chuck is almost through opening up the drive pump compartment. What I'll try to do, or what we will try to do, Chuck, if you want to stand up there.
Sure.
Will you point your finger at the two Rexroth drive motors, one for each track? That's for the left track and that's for the right track. Now Chuck's going to point towards the Vickers pump. That's a 60-gallon minute pump running at about 3,800 pounds of pressure. The tank, of course, is right above the pumps, and of course you get extremely good gravity feed, plus the fact we are pressurizing the tank to about 5 to 10 pounds. There is a turnoff out of every hose coming out of the tank, so you never have to drain the tank in case that you've got to work on any of the pumps. Okay, that little tube up there is the ether starting kit. We also include as standard a hot water starting kit where you can tap into your pickup truck under cold conditions. Now Chuck, point to the charge pump. We have a dedicated charge pump for our control circuit. And off right about that position, Chuck, would you want to point to the relief for the control circuit? That little silver, that's it right there. That is relief that gives us the 400 psi pressure needed for the control drive circuit. That's the compressor there for the air conditioner. And of course there's the filters, oil fill tube, and oil check. Everything is all on one side. Of course the batteries are right there. So serviceability is as easy as you're ever going to get. Brake solenoid, that is a brake solenoid right there. And of course the operator from the cab, by activating a switch, will cut the pilot oil off into the braking chamber, thereby setting the brakes. This is not automatically done. We've had a lot of operators tell us that they'd rather have more positive control of the brakes than the automated system that some other people use. So this is the way we're doing it. Access to the radiator, you can see we have a side-by-side cooling unit. The unit that he's pointing to now is the radiator, which is about 2/3 of the area, and the oil cooler is about the other third. These two radiators are made by Kamazan, or Masabi, and they are replaceable tubes. You can see the swing motor there. That's a low RPM, high torque piston motor that seems to work extremely well on this particular machine. We think it's the state of the art as far as swings are concerned. You can see access to the radiator is very easy, and of course for cleaning out and so on and so forth, we feel side by side is much more efficient than one in front of the other. There's a panel that Chuck is pointing to, which by taking out 2 or 3 bolts and hinging at that bottom bolt that I'm going to focus in on, that whole panel hinges, and anything you have to get access to on that side of the engine then makes it relatively easy. That panel off now, and you can see the hinge point and how it opens up, makes access to that part of the engine. You don't have to put it in place by hand. It hinges as shown. We also have a safety device that Chuck is pointing to. Whenever you open the door of the Timbco, it cancels out all the charge pressure. Therefore, none of the controls can work, tracks, booms, or anything. Even if the door is slightly ajar, it cancels all the hydraulic. We feel this is very, very important as far as potential product liability and these kind of things. Of course, Chuck is pointing to the controls. These are Cybertech hand controllers. There is 5 proportional and 4 electric controls. Plenty of controls that are needed to operate the machine efficiently. The seat is made by Grammer. It's fully adjustable in every direction. And of course, it's a very, very comfortable position for any size operator. There is an escape hatch out the back window. That window can be released from inside the cab in case the machine should tip over and land on the door. Chuck is pointing you that right now.
Air conditioner?
The air conditioner is in the top cab area. It's a 17,000 BTU red dot air conditioner, along, of course, with the heater unit. It's in a very accessible position. That top cover does hinge in case it takes some maintenance. And outside of a few initial problems, it's worked extremely well. There's also an air filter in the cab, which in very dusty conditions needs changing, so the air inside the cab is at all times clean. There's also what we call a second line of defense underneath that big window on the top side, just in case a tree should come down and go through that Lexon. There's a grate which would catch any object that should by accident break through the Lexon. Get a little bit better shot of the what we call second line of defense.